All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to ESL for the Go4GuildWars2 monthly final. I didn't do anything. All right, so we're in our grand final now. The winners will take away 1,000 euros, and the losers still walk away with 300 euros. So that's not too bad at all. My name's Kaelaris, alongside Jebro, and of course Mr. ChroNick over in our corner for our analysis segment. And going into this, guys, it's Orange Logo versus TCG, the new lineup of TCG. We're favouring Orange Logo, I assume, going into this final.
I don't think you could really say anything else other than that, because I think that's spot on. We saw them dominate in the last game versus one of the top teams. We saw them put in an awesome performance. We've seen them put in great performances recently. They did lose, though, recently as well, didn't they? I mean, that was a bit of a change up in their roster, though. I think Denshi was playing on a fresh air elementalist as well, so it was a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, again, I'm loving the 3 DPS. I want to see it again, and I think it was kind of a result of the meta just shifting towards getting the kills, keeping it to 4v5, and then from that resulting in the caps. And then they thought, well, why not go full-on boom and try and just explode the enemy team? Yeah, they moved back a bit. They seem to be really solid on that setup. And I have to say, yeah, Orange Logo is the definite favorite in here. This is a new composition of players. We have seen them now in a game, but yeah, unless they really keep the improvement as steep as they have for the first couple of games we've seen, the chances are slim, but never count out TCG.
That is true. All right, we can actually get into game number 1 here then of this best of 3 grand final between TCG and Orange Logo. Two teams that are an amalgamation of other teams now, one of which had fed off the other one in Orange Logo as we now get into things. So let's take a quick look over the builds, guys, because I don't think there's been too much change up from our previous 2 games.
Indeed. Tixby still on the Celestial Rifle Engineer. He's playing Vampirism. Then we got Lord Helseth playing a DPS Shatter. Mesmer, he's going for Traveller there. And again, switching in for the Staff on this map. Then we've got Eternia playing Dagger Elementalist. He did go for Staff on one map that we saw over on Kylo. He's still gone with that whole Rec Room, so we did see him playing that before. Then we've got Drazis still on Warrior. He's going to be playing Shoutbow, very supporty, not going for that extra damage, but going in for the extra trait over in a discipline tree. And then we do have Karzez, who's going to be also, leave me alone. He's going to be playing Panic Strike, DP Thief, and he's also going to be going with that Vamp Rune. So, not Kaelaris peering over there. So he's going to be playing the same build. Everyone's going to be playing pretty similar stuff, but as per usual, we see some switch ups according to different maps, and that's a good thing to see. It's positive. You want to say anything?
Anyway, so go on, Nick, on to you for the next team.
The blue team. On the blue side, we have the reigning WTS champions. They are called ORNG, or Orange Logo. Starting us off with the Dengineer, as his name might suggest. He's an engineer. He's playing Rifle Celestial Amulet. Then we have Frelina, not on the SD anymore, is playing Panic Strike, Dagger Pistol, Pack Room with that. Nice to see that every once in a while. And also going with Blinding Powder. By the way, have we seen today anything other than Pack and Vampirism? Where's the... I want to see Scholar again. I like Scholar Rune. Just loads of damage. That's fun.
Sustained damage, like for sure damage, yeah.
Yeah. Also really nice. Well, might pair a bit better with the Executioner. Just long range, longbow, cluster bomb a bit more on the
we don't see Executioner much
Not
anymore.
really anymore, no. So, next up is Rom. He's not playing Reckless Dodge. He's going for Destruction of the Empowered on his Shoutbow Warrior, and also with the Battle Standard, not trying to troll us this time with a Rampage. Jigglypuff, or Blackjack, as he is also called. He's playing Dagger, Celestial Elementalist with a Fiery Greatsword for himself and the mobility of his teammates. And then last but not least, it's Tage, and Tage is playing the standard Meditation Guardian.
Awesome. Same builds. Everyone's running with the same stuff.
Yeah.
It worked before.
All right.
Maybe it can work again.
Well, at the moment, Orange Logo is good to go and readied up. We're just waiting now on TCG to get good to go here in the teams. And got to go with favoring Orange Logo again. TCG at the moment, as much as they do have a strong-looking lineup and one that is fearful, may need a few more weeks to gather steam. But there is always the potential here for those upsets.
I'm just wondering how we think these splits are going to come out across the map, whether or not we think we're going to see a very offensive TCG, whether or not we think they're going to be quite defensive and then holding the 2-cap like we saw them in the other games, and then potentially risking a bit of an extension over towards the 3rd node. I think we're seeing a bit of a different plan here because we've got different guys in TCG bringing different things to the game and to the party. You know, let's be a bit more defensive. Let's focus on our nodes and actually, you know, don't die in the roads because we don't want to get 4 wiped just below keep.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That will live with us forever. All right, the first game here on the Grand Finals, best of 3, Orange Logo versus TCG. Let's get into things.
Okay, so we're going to have a look at this early split coming out from Blue, going for the stealth movement over towards the mine. Denshi, Freylina and Tage. Tage is going to break out that stealth first. We are going to see Freylina still nipping over towards that point to get on the node as soon as he possibly can. We're going to see a tiny initiate there as Frey does dip out back into stealth. Tage is going to be the one solid on point. But we might have a bit of an issue for Denshir as he's been kind of pinned down over on the side. A good pickup from TCG.
And Rom is looking to spot very, very quickly with that great fiery greatsword. He's trying to get over there as quickly as possible so that he can help on out. But Denshir is already down, and the Shadow Refuge here to try and get him up at the same time.
Oh, that combination of Shadow Refuge and Banner. He came in, you could see the animation pulling his arm back, but as soon as he went into the Shadow Refuge, you know, that was it. He was back up. A good combination coming out from those guys. Denshir is back up. He's got the support around him, and look at the push from Tage there. Burst onto Texby.
Trying to get him down very, very low, and he will eventually get out of there, but straight into the hands of Rom as well. Gets smashed off the node and will be able to pick up that mine node very, very quickly from there, and they're going to rotate on around to keep.
Cassie's got immobilized there from Freylina just as he was inside that Shadow Refuge. A nice point of that trait coming out there. So we do have Texby still actually bleeding out over on the side. He's going to risk a heal here. I wouldn't have done that. Rom's just going to come back and fire some arrows in your face. But we have some support coming out from Helsef. He's managed to get the mower off. He's going to be cheeky here with the res. And Rom's just going to go in with the mower peck. He's going to use that second ability as well.
Is he going to get up?
He's got the fear. No, I don't know about this. It's going to be difficult. I should have gone into Helsef's perspective there, but that was worth the risk in the end. And now they can turn this into a 2v1 into their favor, hopefully. But we are going to see Freylina back up as soon as possible. It's a good move, but I'm not sure it's going to pay off in the end. Helsef goes into the downstate, and Freylina answers the call.
Drazio went down as well. I'm pretty sure Rom's not going to let that go lightly, having to be forced into the mower while that was going on. But they've taken mines. They're going to probably take keep from here on out, and there is the potential here with Denshir pushing on forwards towards keep. Henge, obviously Eternian will hold on to it for quite a while, but they are restricted at the moment here at TCG.
Yep, and because Texby's being taken out from behind now, his Vampirism Screen is going to come out, but he's got Freylina and Tage there.
Yeah.
He's got to do a bit of a big job here to get back, and he's going to have to jump back to the rest of his party who's currently respawning. You've got Drazzy respawning now as well. Texby doing a great job at just using that toolkit 4. We're going to see Drazzy coming in, giving him some nice support and some heals, and he's going to be fine. So Texby does a great job at actually deterring 2 DPS members from their points.
Freylina with potential decap here. Eternian is trying to get over there as quickly as possible to try and deny that, but a great little move by Freylina to just jump on in there and get that quick decap.
Very, very good. Good thing for the Thief to do, try and get those decaps wherever he can. He used the opportunity well. Texby, unfortunately, is going to go down here over towards the bottom of the keep. Isn't really around any of his teammates. And now we've got a problem for TCG. We've not really got any bunkerage over on this point, any support coming out. Although we did see in a way, Helsef being very supportive over on the mine. But you know what I mean in terms of sustainability over on that point. So they're going to switch it up. They're going to go back over towards the Henge, defend the node they have, and maybe think about a regroup.
Yeah, and that's a big regroup over towards Henge. Just waiting, playing it patiently and trying to reevaluate their options. Textbeam, though, meanwhile, has able to be respawn and is going to head over towards Rom to try and contest that location. Will work out all right for a little bit. Just the fact now that, unfortunately, Eternian's going to have to compete with Freylina and also Tage over at the Henge.
He can sustain it for a bit. He really can't stay there for too long.
Not
it's
for
so
too
much damage. And literally, the burst comes in. He's got no defense against it. He's got no cooldowns left. He's going to die.
Yeah.
And he walks straight into that ring of warding. There's nothing really to keep him up there. But he's doing a great rotation at the moment. He's doing the best he can survive. Going into that earth to offer up some protection is the only thing he can do.
Yeah.
He does it. He doesn't survive. Oh, he might get the res here, actually. We've seen Drazi coming over. Is he going to think about going for that res? Not too sure. He's got the banner. He was interrupted there. A good job from those guys. He's actually going to opt to go back on node and try and get the cap. Freylina tries to cleave around the body, and he's actually just going to get the full congestion on that, and he's probably just going to dip in and out now.
Meanwhile, elsewhere, Rom and Texby still fighting over the mines here for quite a while. But it was decowed, so that was good movement overall by Texby to make sure that that was going on. And they do have themselves the 1 cap against 0, with Lord Helseth, though, taking quite a bit of damage on mid. Will end up falling into the downstate, and this will eventually be captured here.
I mean, Orange Logo are not only winning the fights, but they're putting their people in the right positions.
Yeah,
And the fine example of that was, okay, Helseth came in, did a great move to get Texby up over on this point. Freylina came in. And in the end, unfortunately, it didn't go anywhere. They still lost out on that point and even lost a body there. We're going to see Drazi potentially getting res to hit over by Kazes. I think he did use that. And yeah, switching it up there.
Get away from us.
Not going to happen, unfortunately, for those guys. And we are going to see Drazi taken out. He's going to be a really big issue. It's going to be a big issue missing him on the map. We've not got the banner. We've not got the support coming out. We've not got the condition removal. Rom and Texby are going on this node 1v1, which is actually quite good for TCG because the support isn't there. But, you know, it's not actually going into the rest of the map. We've still got 250 points coming out for Orange Logo. They're completely fine without Rom.
Yeah, the double cap's down at the moment, which is helping them out considerably. Helseth's trying to put on some pressure against Tage, who ends up falling quite low, but the heals are enough to keep him up for just a little bit longer. He is still quite low. He wants to try and line of sight out of the way here, as he was being pursued quite heavily. Jumps on out to try and keep himself alive, and really good movement there by Tage.
So offensive, you know? What does Tage do when he gets attacked? He just dips out for a second and then just jumps back in at about 4k HP, you know? Why not? But you know why he can do that? Because he's got the support. He knows who's behind him. He knows he's got Jiggly behind him. He knows he's got Denshi behind him as well. Dropping those heals, being supportive to him because they need him to push forward to get those kills. They've pushed them out of the node completely. Successful defense and moving out. And now they can push to mid on the 3rd node with a 2 cap against TCG.
And all the time, they're always so full on health here at Orange Logo. Really know when to pick the fights, when to go up against it. Drezier at the moment is trying to do some damage here in mid and actually doing quite well against Rom, who has taken quite a bit of damage, but likewise Freylina is going to try and help out whilst he gets on out of there. Texby still on road, actually able to lock him down there for a little bit more, but still he will not fall.
Rom doesn't know how to die, apparently.
No. Oh, he's going to go down now, though.
There's the caster curse going right out there again. But look at the res coming out. He's going to be fine. Big cooldown, still back up on release when it's needed. Although we are going to see Jigglypuff quite low HP, but they can regenerate each other quite well. Though Rom's had to go off node again, and he's doing this kind of rotation around the point. And again, as people start to chase him, players can come in from behind and try and offer up some damage. But in this case, they're not able to. Freylina's trying it.
Jiggly's pretty low. Drezier is going to push him away there off the point and make sure he can't really compete too much more. Meanwhile, Denchineer on the mine is looking to help on out here against Eternia as well as Kazers, but Tage is holding on strong against this, with Kazers actually falling down.
It's a great ring of warding there, as well as the plant of those grenades almost perfectly into the ring of warding, to the point where, you know, it covered the whole thing. So he's definitely going to get some damage off there. So the amount of just how well these guys work together and the consistency of their damage, the consistency of their focus targeting, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do. They do. Helseth's going to end up falling, though, here as well in the mid, as they're able to pick him up with a banner, so he keeps himself alive for just a little bit longer while this is going on, but it's still a lot of pressure. Freylina is in the thick of things, has to get on out, obviously getting quite low. Likewise, Jigglypuff getting pretty low, rides the lightning all the way out of there, though, and just barely keeping himself alive from the damage coming out from Helseth.
Yeah, Helseth's now he's in a good position to do some nice damage, but actually moves down to the bottom as he gets approached by Freylina there on the top. He's probably going to fall quite quick. Oh no, he actually gets nice heal coming out for him. He's going to pop his heal off as well. No clones, which means his heal's going to be quite low, but now we're going to see Dresser coming in for the rest. The nice knockback comes in from Tage, classic Tage there. Cleave coming up, we got some, anyone thinking about going for the res? Not sure, not now. Dresser's just going to hightail it out of here. And they've got the 2-cap, but they can't hold on to this point at the moment. It's really difficult for them. 2 downs, supportive and DPS-wise. We've got Helseth dead. We've got Dresser in the down state. And Eternia is trying to hold on to mid for his life. They need to think about going for that D-cap over on the mine, which Texby's gone for. And when Jiggly's run out of those cooldowns, he's going to be entirely possible.
Yeah, run straight into Kaz's there. That was quite well orchestrated overall. I mean, with the fight still going on at mine, Texby and Jigglypuff fighting off against one of their. Here comes Tage. He had time. He had free removal from what was going on in mid, and he can easily offer up a little bit of support.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost very close to a free cap there coming out from
Very
logo.
close.
Dentioneer's got that henge. And yeah, now Drez is moving up to mid. This game is pretty much over, really. I mean, 466 points at the moment. That's going to have to be a heavy comeback. And they've still got the bosses on the board. And yeah, you know, they can just jump on both of them if they wanted to and easily get one of those kills. But I think they're just going to hold the map as it is.
Yep, even the Chain's Light as well as the Smite coming out from Tage to do a little bit more damage here to Texby. That being said, though, Texby is holding his alone against Tage while this fight is going on. But too many points here, too many points for Orange Logo. And once again, they're able to come out on top here in game number 1 of this best of 3. And they look so powerful at the moment. In every single game I watch them in, they look really, really powerful.
The fighting was good. The complete rotational movement, the movement of Freylina was key in many of those fights. It was just a really good game for them.
Yeah.
They played so well, and like Nick said before, that is the combination. You've got the reason that Dentioneer works so well in that role is the control factor. You know, he can get those decaps. He can pull his targets. He can net them off his rifle as well. He can do some great abilities which really combo up well with the damage that's coming out from the team, and that's why that comp is just so strong and so powerful.
Nick, in the game 1 there, Orange Logo looking fantastic. What is TCG going to be able to do against this? I mean, Orange Logo looks really on form.
Well, they tried a couple of things. I have to highlight one portal play I really enjoyed, which, to be honest, you could kind of smell 5 miles against the wind. But it was basically a 5-man retreat to the close point with a far push and then a mid portal, which was a nice idea. To be honest, I saw, wait, 5-man retreat? Let's check if there's a portal in mid. That was kind of the immediate reaction. I assume just from the reaction we saw from Orange Logo, they kind of had the same thought. TCG, pretty much in their new composition as they were in their old, struggling if they're not immediately ahead. They like to play the aggressive game and they can't really if they have to come back. So it's really, I think, with them all about the start. If they can make a good start, if they're able to make a good start happen, and they can pretty much roll from that. And if there's a map to really take control of, once you have a good start, then it's this one. If TCG, this is possible, I think. We saw some good moments, but ORNG, just with these swap outs in the team fights, it's like these minute details, but basically a rotation of players that are currently down with good support, just people moving out and in and out of the team fights again, just resets over and over again. And you just have to...
It's like clockwork. it works. You know, they don't even probably need to talk to each other in those respects. You know, they just like they know what to do. You know, Rom runs out. You know what's going to happen. He's more than likely going to survive. If he doesn't, someone else can pull out for the res because TCG are going to have to pull out members to try and take him down because they know it's not going to be an easy mission. There's going to be so many people that are going to come in with some kind of control to actually negate that down or that res. So it's tough for TCG, especially coming together in the last couple of days or today. You know, to go up against a team that's so formidable and so consistent and the synergy, you know, it's a tough uphill struggle. And I think they actually did quite good in that map in different aspects where Nick said, you know, there's some definite potential for them to come out. But I think he's also right about this fact. They need a good start. If they do not get that good start, it's going to be very tough. And we saw how they almost couldn't come back into the map when they were here earlier tonight.
Well, at the moment, I think it's going to be tough for them regardless in this best of 3. But what will be very interesting is, say, a month down the line or 2 months down the line, if they're able to stick with this lineup, how well they'll do then against Orange Logo going into these kinds of monthlies, because that's where it matters a lot outside of WTS, and that's where you're really going to have to test your mettle compared to, of course, weeklies are important to qualify through to this, but 9 times out of 10, both these teams are going to be able to qualify, and then this is where it really matters. So anyway, we can get into game number 2 here for now as we get on to Full Fire for our second game here in this best of 3. And at the moment, we will be jumping in very, very soon. So, I don't think there's been any change-ups here so far.
I don't think so. Just having a look at the rest of the team members. We've got Lord Helseth still running the same. Texby still running the same thing as well. We do have Drazzy running exactly the same build as well. We've got no change up coming out from Eternier, still on Dagger. And we've got Karzis who's still on his build with that Vampirin. How well is that Vampirism rune working?
Yeah, I'm audible again. In the last game, it didn't really pay off that much. We didn't really. If he fell kind of in the cluster of damage. So the Vampirism room, I don't know if he gets really his full the full potential of it. I think what TCG needs to do is go for really risky, really aggressive moves. They need to make the most out of a mower to get the quick kill, because otherwise we've seen that in a sustained team fight. They're not they're not able to hold their own.
It's important, and for that good start as well, maybe some extra. I mean, I've seen it. I just picked up that nice little fight between those guys. But it's so important. We haven't really seen the Moa being so effective to the point that we'll just make them come back into the game and have control of the game. So I think you're right. You know, it's going to be that combination of the Moa, and maybe we're going to see that come out really early. And you know, made in meta, going back to that kind of thing. I love that. You know, coming in. We know that you like the Moa as well.
Oh yeah, I love the Moa.
We had Drazzy and also Helseth playing on the same team the other day with two Moas.
That sounds pretty fantastic. All right, well, anyway, let's get into it. Game number 2 here in the grand final between Orange Logo and TCG in the Go4GuildWars2 monthly final.
Going to jump into the perspective of Orange Logo, seeing what their opening split is going to be here as they try to maybe think about, we've got a Moa somewhere on the map, but we're going to see the Pain Train combination of TCG going towards the mid now. They are stealthed up here on the top on the left-hand side of the screen. They're going to start to engage now. Let's go into, whoa! Now they can't focus on their burst because they've got to focus on the rest. We are going to see the war banner risen up though, as Drazzy must have come into the mid and offered up his support. So great movement from him. Yeah. Anticipating it almost to a degree, which I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not. But we'll move over to the quarry.
It was a sick portal escape overall, and now obviously Rom is going to be able to deal with anything that's going on over with Freylina as well, chasing down Texby, as Casas ended up going down as well over towards mid, and they've already picked up the quarry. Waterfall has gone over to TCG, and then it will become about the mid very, very soon.
Yeah, Tixby actually has to go back into the base to regenerate there because he lost a bit of HP, but he's going to come back out fine. He's actually going to go up against Frelina if Frelina does decide to hold that point over there on the quarry. You're actually going to go and just jump into Helseth's perspective as he tries to distance himself away from Rom, Denshi, and Tage. Possibly you can see them all in the background. They're really, this is like the old school members of TCG just trying to take out Helseth. It's quite enjoyable to watch, if I'm honest. It's, you know, it's that kind of grudge match going down. We're going to see over on the quarry, we've been able to get the decap happening over here. Rom's over here with Tage as well versus Texby at the moment.
Yeah, and at the same time, obviously here, Tage will be able to try and find a little bit of room for himself. Still looking to pursue on against Drezir. Texby was chased off node during all of that, and Denshi, Drezir even is going to take quite a bit of damage if he's not careful. There was the jump there from Tage to do something, but the sustain is good out so far from TCG.
Yeah, we're still very close in point score. The leads, it's good that Orange Logo haven't come into the map and just completely dominated because, as we said, you know, that would be a very, very demoralizing thing to happen to TCG and a really difficult thing for them to come back into at the moment, and it's a very early call. But an interesting noise going out there. As I do believe that you were talking about the down of Drezir. He's currently in a down state, just in the corner of our screen there, going through the alleyway, which is a nice escape, but also to a degree you're putting yourself in an alley of death potentially if you are putting yourself into that massive cleave situation.
At least they do have one cap themselves. They're keeping up in points and not allowing it to completely snowball out of control on a map like this. Yes, they lost Drezir, but he can come back into the fight pretty quickly, especially to help Helseth against where Rom was, and then maybe push back onto the quarry, which would be quite nice for them. That portal play, actually, they could have even duked Rom where he is, but at the same time, obviously, Rom would have come back for the support.
Yeah, I think they're playing a very chilled game at the moment. They're just getting the kills on different members now. Texby going down over on the mid. We are going to see Denshi drop, though, over on the mid as well, so they need to try and pick him up as soon as possible. Even Tage going in for the res there. He's going to dodge out of that cleave. Potentially, Juggly would almost go down there as well. We are going to see him go down eventually over on the stairs. He was very low to go into that cleave of where the cleave was coming out onto Denshire. So Denshire? Actually, that's quite a good shortened version of his name.
Yeah, it's all right.
Lord Helseth coming in there to offer up some cleave. Rom jumps in with the battle standards.
Yeah, and there was quite a cool fight going on between Drezir and Rom for a little while before this actually went down. So Warrior versus Warrior didn't really result in much, though. Frelina was downed over by the waterfall, so and the lovely shark comes out to eat her up.
How they've just managed to flip that in a kill on Helseth. We had two downstates mid. They got the kill in the end on Helseth. We're going to see Denshi able to come out onto Waterfall now and get that cap. Eternia not able to get back in time to actually contest that, or he will keep the point contested in nobody's favour. We've got no caps coming out across the map. We've only got a 5-point lead for Orange Logo. We got 10 minutes on the clock in this game at the moment. It's a slow far at the moment. We know 150 points can come in, of course, with one of those lot kills.
Yeah, well, really wasn't expecting a slow fire, that's for sure, because usually this, especially when Orange Logo are part of the equation, it goes 0 to 100 miles an hour very, very quickly. Eternia's going to end up going down. Vaporform has been popped. He's trying to go over to the portal, and they will be able to escape out there, so really good move. They can get right back in the thick of things very soon if they wanted, but they're going to head over towards mid to help out that location because they don't want a triple cap to go on.
That was pretty clutch, actually.
Yeah.
It was a great time for that to happen because we've actually seen Tage dying over on the quarry, which means they can push Karzes over towards the mid. He did +1 that fight to get that over quite quickly. Even though Orange Logo have the 1 cap at the moment, if they can get the kill onto Drezir, this is going to be big. But Tage is in the downstate as well. Where is Tage? He's still over on the quarry. He's not going to get raised, of course. And we are going to see Karzes dropping low himself. Drezir is still really low. I think they keep dropping in for some reses. That's not going to happen in the end, and unfortunately I think Orange Logo might just win out over that because of the amount of support that Drezir brings.
Frelina very, very low here in mid, gonna end up heading towards where we're seeing Texby at, and the net comes out, but the dodge will be able to keep him well away from it. Eternia as well trying to hold on towards this midpoint, and the battle of Warrior between Rom and Helseth continues over at Waterfall. That's a battle I really want to see in terms of the 1v1, considering those two people and how they are personally. They're interesting guys.
And Kazes does come in there as well to ruin the day. Rom can't actually line of sight too much because, you know, the thief can just train him down from behind. Tage is trying to come in as well. I'm not sure this is going to be a great idea for him. He is going to try and contest the point, but if he just gets some nice burst down onto Kaelaris, it was going to be nice. And he actually goes very low, but he's able to port away from that damage, going to jump into Tage's position here as well. And he actually did a great job. And we saw that counter move coming up from Freylina and also Denshi. You know, they pushed up behind him, ready to support. That's the back line of him, and he's just being offensive and pushing forward. And it's awesome to see.
Look at the points between these two, but there we go. As we see TCG now grabbing themselves a second cap, but it is the 2 outer points, which can be kind of difficult to hold on to, especially against a team like TCG, Orange Logo. But Freylina is down at the moment, so that will give them that 4v5 situation for a little bit longer, especially with the full kill going down on her. And Kazes is still in the thick of things, trying to do a bit of damage himself, but wants to get away from the extra little bit of damage that Tage is going to be putting on the map.
They just need to be careful now because they've just, you know, they want to make sure they can go off this kill. They don't want to lose another member. We have seen the respawn of Freylina coming out now. Texby knows that. He's gone back to the home point to guard that, which is why he's moving there. We've seen the quarry as well being open, and Draz is going to move back there as well to just watch it. But they need to be careful. They can't hold people on 2 side nodes, but they found Freylina. Freylina went for that decap, and Texby had him. He had his number. And
all the while, they are gaining quite a lead in the points at the moment. It's obviously just a little bit, but it will start to push out further.
You're right. You're right. It is a big lead in this game because it's been very tight the whole time. This is considerable at the moment.
The 2 cap is something that is really pushing them on forward. Helseth manages to get up there, though, with the banner aid from Drazia, who manages to keep themselves all alive overall. Freylina taking a bit of damage, really wants to kind of get into a better position with that Shadow Refuge, making sure that it will be able to heal up just a little bit and get into the fight very quickly.
Yeah, she's going to push forward here, probably using that withdrawal to stay with potentially Helseth there. They do believe they were sticking with a clone, which is kind of
I was going to say, yeah.
I think, actually, that's not a clone. I think we've had a miniature DC coming out from Helseth.
Oh yeah, looks like it.
Which would be absolutely horrible if that does happen. We'll have to wait. We have had a call of a DC. Someone is going to AFK, so good move. That's a kind of class for class, DPS for DPS, although we do have more mobility coming out from Helseth. But because of that initial event, unfortunately, Helseth wasn't able to come in and defend and assist.
Yeah, and Kaz's may end up going down if they end up finding him as well. Then Shanir is on the point and will be able to rival this quite easily. Kaz is going to have to run away. But Tage, as I said, stepping away is in good sportsmanship. Now Helseth is back, so Tage can re-enter the battlefield.
Indeed. So, unfortunately, it was a bit of a big fight that was lost over there, but I don't think that will deter them. They still have the quarry at the moment.
The points
are
okay.
It's been a very tight game, and we're close to 350. And if anything, TCG have a great possibility for going for Lord if they need to come back, because they've got the mobility to do it. So at the very least, they can push that if they do get into trouble.
Yeah, potentially. Kaz is going to take quite a bit of damage. Freylina and Tage were trying to chant her down, and at the same time, over towards Quarry, Rom and Eternia are going to have a fight for, well, an eternity for a little while whilst that is going on.
Great name for it, I guess.
Yeah.
Why not? Eternia going for eternity. But we've also had Helseth kind of wandering around the doors and the gates. He's been running around there for a while, just, you know, kind of lulling them into a false sense of security. But this is quite a nice push, because he can push onto this node and he can actually, you know, start to regroup his team members. With this timing, if they can get the cap, they can get close to 350.
Yeah.
And I think they'll push Lord, because I think that's probably one of their best bets of winning this game. We've got a 2 cap now for Orange Logo over on the mid. We've still got a solid cap there. If they can get this point quickly, which they're very close to doing, because, oh no, Jiggly is just on the node, saving them for a couple of seconds. But of course, we can have this Lord Rush from Orange Logo as well.
Yes, we could. They're currently controlling mid as well as Rom. Where are you going? Rom, are you going? Rom is starting to fire down towards the gate already, so he will do a little bit of damage to this, try and open things up. He knows that there is the potential that this could snowball out of control, because 335 points on the field here at the moment. Look at all the movement here, though, from TCG.
He's not got his portal up, so he isn't being able to save that. And this is going to be all or nothing. If they do not get this Lord Rush, I do not think that we are going to see them come back into this map. They need to be very successful in this. Are they all going to push? Is it all or nothing? But look, Orange Logo are going for it themselves.
Yeah.
Which Lord should we look at? Let's look at the blue one, because it should go down quite quickly. Who have we got defending this? We've got Jiggly. That's good defense. And then we've got DPS. That's a great split coming out from Orange Logo.
Very good.
They're already on the Lord.
Yeah.
They're at 50% health now. The feed comes out onto all the NPCs, including the Red Lord. The Red Lord cannot heal. His condition damage is good. The Red Lord goes down. Orange Logo take the win, and they take the money.
Easy peasy, they won by 72 points over 500, so well done to them. And congratulations to Orange Logo for once again showing their dominance over the European scene at the moment. Of course, they're not always winning every single weekly, but they're winning when it matters. They're winning these monthlies and looking very, very strong about it. Nick, obviously, that was quite the close game up until some kind of... I think even when the DC went down, to be honest, it was still a pretty close game going on there.
Yeah, to be honest, the reason why TCG still had a chance was because of that AFK. Without that courtesy AFK, that would have just steamrolled and they wouldn't have gotten to 350, and that kind of gave them the window to go for that Lord Rush. And yeah, you're definitely right. Once, and I said it before, once TCG got into that control position, they did manage to play well. They did manage to, what I previously said about Orange Logo, that they managed to really rotate in the team fight, rotate people out for the reset. That is kind of what they did well in this match, as well as just trying to pick off single persons. We had a big group of Orange Logo in the mid on the midpoint when we had that double outer point cap. And then they just went in, picked out Fredina, down he goes, and then they have a bit of breathing room.
They did actually do. They surprised me in that game. I'm going to be honest. I think you're right. I think the combinations worked well. I think the Orange Logo's split at the end on that Lord was just, it tipped it in their favor.
It was really strong.
They swung a DPS character. They swung in a supportive person in the form of Jigglypuff as well. And they just took it, and TCG couldn't move in fast enough. They had their DPS focused on 2 gates. Yeah. It was a good idea to come in from 2 angles, but you're not going to get that gate down fast enough if you've got 3 members focusing on 1. That's your first point of entry. Then going to the boss, the guys on Orange Logo, they've put some nice interrupts in there where they can chain up. They've got Denshi, they've got Rom, and they've got Freylina. We've got Blinds, we've got the Fee. You saw the NPCs flee. As soon as that happened, the burst of the conditions came in. He was down. I didn't even need to go to the other Lord because you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, it was very, very well set up there by them. So congratulations once again to Orange Logo for picking themselves up €1,000 and obviously €300 going over to TCG. So that pretty much does it for us here. It's one of the shorter broadcasts we've actually had as these games have came in thick and fast here for the Go4GuildWars2 monthly finals. So any last words, Nick, before we head off for the folks?
Yeah, last words would be from me. I'm really counting on TCG to stay together. I want to see that team continue and kind of develop their team play. That is my wish and my last words.
My wish and my last words.
How about you, Dan?
I would like to remind everyone that we do still have the ESL Weekly Cup on, which is actually on tomorrow. We have the Go4 Cup, which is still going on for this month at the moment, of course, on the Sunday at the same time. Also to watch the NA side of this cup coming up later today. Blue will be casting that. I'm not too sure who alongside. But yeah, we've got tons of Guild Wars 2 SPVP action coming up. And yeah, great show tonight. some great games, and I think some promising teams for the future.
Yeah, some close stuff, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how your Gooses Cooked, as well as the new TCG, are able to formulate their strategies and move on through the weeklies and hopefully into the monthly as well. So that does it from us here at ESL Studios. A huge thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time for more Guild Wars 2 action.